From stuck to deciding, a 3-step process for your next chapter. In the previous solo episode, I spoke about the traps that keep people stuck during a midlife transition. And when people recognize themselves in those traps, the next feeling is often discomfort, a sense of unease, sometimes even a bit of urgency. At that point, two common reactions tend to show up. Some people feel tempted to rush into action just to escape the discomfort. Others go back into more thinking and analysis, hoping that more reflection will somehow resolve it. Neither of those usually helps. In this episode today, I want to offer something different, a middle path. Not endless thinking, not rushed decisions, but a simple, grounded process that helps you move from stuck to deciding without turning your life upside down. Let me start with one important reframe. Deciding in midlife is not about choosing the perfect future. It is not about having everything figured out. Instead, it is about choosing the next right direction. And direction comes from process, not from insight alone. I want to walk you through a 3-step process you can use. It is simple, but not superficial, and it is designed to restore orientation, direction, before asking you to commit to anything major. Step 1 of the 3-step process is stop asking the wrong question. This first step is to notice the question you are asking yourself. You see, many people get stuck because they keep asking questions like, what should I do with my life? What is my right next career? What is my purpose? These are big questions. They are important questions. However, at this stage, they are often the wrong ones. And that's because they are too heavy and too abstract. So, when you ask those questions, this can be overwhelming and tends to freeze the movement rather than create movement. What helps instead is to shift from destination questions to orientation questions. And these are questions like, what do I need more of right now? What is missing in my current way of living or working? What would help me gain a sense of steadiness? I can say this from my own experience as well. Movement only started when I stopped trying to answer the big life question and focused instead on what was needed in the present moment. Remember, the aim of this step is not clarity, it is direction. Let's move to the second step of the process. Once you have some orientation, the next step is to define a container for your next phase. When I say container, I mean a defined period of time with clear boundaries. You see, many people try to decide the next 10 or 20 years of their life. That is a lot of pressure to put on any decision. What usually works better is to define a container that is time-bound, realistic, and flexible enough to be adjusted as you learn more. So this could be 6 months, 12 months, or something similar. It is a phase, not a lifelong commitment. And within that container, you are not trying to reinvent everything. You are creating space to explore, to test, and to pay attention, while you are still protecting everything that matters to you. This step is important because it allows movement without forcing certainty. It gives you a sense of direction without demanding that you already know where it all leads. So, step 1 of the process was stop asking the wrong question. And this was step 2, which is define the container and not the destination. Let's move now to step 3. The third step is about movement, but not just any movement. This is not about staying busy or ticking boxes or taking action just to feel you are moving. This step is about choosing movement that gives you feedback. Feedback that tells you what fits and what doesn't. Feedback breaks the mental loops and restores confidence. So the question becomes, what is one small, real step that will give me feedback? It might be a conversation. It might be a small experiment or a specific commitment that teaches you something. It doesn't matter what the step is. What matters is that it gives you clear feedback and that you can adjust your course if you need to. Again, speaking from my own experience, confidence did not return for me through thinking things through. It returned through small, real steps that showed me what was working and what wasn't. This is how you regain direction and orientation. If you step back and look at this process, you will notice something important. It does not require certainty. It does not require bravery or courage in advance. And most importantly, it does not require dramatic decisions. It only requires structure, movement, and focus. This process helps people avoid falling back into the traps that I spoke about in the previous episode. And it gives you a way to move forward without going back to the default of the old pattern. Listen, this phase of life is not about having all the answers. It's about direction. And direction is what allows you to move steadily instead of drifting and second-guessing yourself. If you would like help applying this process to your own situation, I offered a focused 30-minute session where we restore orientation and identify your next step. You can book it at personaldevelopmentmasterypodcast.com/mentor. Until next time, stand out and don't fit in